Hi guys, and welcome to a new video on Sonal's life. Now I'm on approximately like 4.5 hours sleep, but we are here for the New Japan Resurgence show that was on last night in Ontario, California. Now I at first thought it was in Canada because you know what, the initials are right, and even though I thought I was stupid at first, turns out I'm not the only one. So yeah, we're going to look through the card, everything that happened, the results, and what we can expect going forward. Now remember, at the same time, we're currently having the Best of Super Junior tournament in Japan. So it meant that, I guess, aside from like a few very odd few names, we had no juniors on this card. So yeah, let's get going. Okay, so we started with the pre-show. Now, as expected, well, it was actually quite a bit shocking. I didn't do a preview on this, but if you look on True Heel Heat, we actually did one for me, SP3 and J News, and we were quite surprised. So while the first match was Matt Vandergriff and Adrian Quest, which, okay, fair enough, but like, come on guys, Adrian Quest needs to be brought up to the main card. The second pre-show match was Mustafa Ali versus Lio Rush. Exactly, two huge names, both, I guess, within New Japan, in terms of Lio Rush was doing stuff with Yo, he was in Best of Super Juniors, and Mustafa Ali, who is generally a massive name and had an amazing match against Hiromu. Now, this was a phenomenal match. There were loads of twists and turns, and Lio Rush brought out this new persona at the end, where basically like there was like black stuff. Is it Black Heart? I can't remember. But what I think is, yes, it was an odd place to put it, but you had people up. People were watching this and going, right, if this is on the pre-show, we have to buy the main show. I mean, maybe it didn't do anything, but it was very nice because it's free. It allows people who maybe didn't pay for the pay-per-view to see what New Japan is about. And with these US shows, especially because they are pay-per-view, it might make people go, well, these shows have very big names, so maybe next time we'll buy it. We then got onto the main card. Now, we started off with some tag matches. So we had Chaos. So in the first match, Chaos is Tomohiro Ishii and Rocky Romero. Yay, Rocky. And the DKC facing House of Torture. Yes, I woke up at 3 a.m. and the first thing I saw was Evil and Ren Narita with Jack Perry. It was a fine match. There actually wasn't as much cheating as I expected. I like to say this, even though he's now aligned with the Elite in AEW, so that is Nicholas Jackson, Matthew Jackson, Kazuchika Okada, and I'm probably missing somebody else. Jack Perry is my favourite member of the House of Torture. So yeah, they got the pin, they pinned Rocky Romero, nothing really big there. You'll see later. House of Torture is always there. We then had another tag match, Fred Rosser, Tom Lawler, I think they're called Dirty Work, I think, this from what I remember, versus the West Coast Wrecking Crew, so Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs. Personally, not two teams I'm too aware of. I know all about Fred Rosser. I've seen the other three guys during these New Japan shows. This match basically stemmed from the last pay-per-view, I think it was Windy City Riot, and after the Fatal 4-Way for the New Japan Strong titles, these two teams had a big outburst on the side. Surprisingly, West Coast Wrecking Crew got the win. Now, I guess surprisingly, not surprisingly, Dirty Work have got huge names, but West Coast Wrecking Crew are a proper tag team. So, I guess if you balance it, it kind of makes sense. We then had the first of the title matches. It was for the strong, no openweight titles. Now, it was obviously the champions, TMDK, versus GOD after ELP got a roll-up pin on the champions during one of the, I think, Dontaku shows. Now, I was worried. So, there have been rumblings, obviously know that Tangaloa and Tama Tonga are in WWE. And there are rumours that they want, obviously, the youngest brother, Hikuleo, and his contract is running out. Now, I went into this thinking, right, if GOD lose, then that's the future slated. However, it was very interesting. So the match obviously was great. We had some amazing tag team offense between both because TMDK are tag team veterans and GOD have really cemented their bond as partners. Like, they are so different, but they gelled together so well. There was interactions between ELP and Mikey Nichols, Shane Haste and Hikuleo, which were quite funny. And then vice versa, Hikuleo with Mikey Nichols, ELP with Shane Haste. In the end, GOD actually won. Now, this is, I think, they lost it on their second defense. The first defense was actually against GOD. So, with this and what happened here, along with the IWGP Tag Champions changing hands, I'm very confused at what is going on within the tag division. Gato, Rocky, whoever, because obviously I think there are different booking crews for the Strong shows and the IWGP. You need to get back on it. You need to focus on having some continuity. We had a few years that was amazing. You had the likes of Dangerous Tekkers, TMDK, Aussie Open, OGGOD, the Bishamon, all doing really good things for the tag division, and now it just feels like you're hot potato and things. It's basically become like the Never division, if anyone gets like the reference there. So yeah, a great match. These four have amazing chemistry. I'm a bit worried because obviously GOD got it back. I don't need to see another rematch. Like, have them fight over IWGP at some point, because like, you can't keep toing and throwing these belts, because while they're not as prestigious as the other ones, you've had like so many title changes with this recently that it just doesn't seem right. We then had another title match, and it was for the Strong Women's Championship, and it was the champion Stephanie Vaquez versus my homegirl, someone very dear to my heart as a UK resident who watches the independent scene, Alex Windsor. Now, I have watched Alex Windsor for years. I remember seeing her at smaller shows. I was less aware of Stephanie Vaquez before she won the New Japan Open, the New Japan Strong Women's title. Now, obviously, again, like the Team Filthy Work and West Coast Wrecking Crew, this match came about at the last Windy City Riot show. And obviously Alex Windsor challenged for the belt. This match was great. So you could tell Alex Windsor came as a heel. Vaquez was very popular. This match really was phenomenal. It got given the right amount of time. Both women got in their offense and showcased who they are as a wrestler. Vaquez was a bit more, obviously she's triple champion, so she has 3 belts, including I can't remember the third, but she has the Strong and the CMLL Women's Champion. She had a much more mysterious aura to her. Alex Windsor was very much like down and dirty, very mat style, kicks, strikes. You could hear some of those chops echoing in the arena. And I think their chemistry was really good. While I predicted on True Heel Heat that Alex Windsor was going to win maybe out of selfish desire, Vaquez actually retained. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think she's been a phenomenal champion. She has had some amazing defenses, and it's really upping the prestige of this belt, because obviously Strong is sometimes forgotten, but with these shows and obviously the less defenses but more consistently, that makes sense. It's a bit of like a odd thing. The belt is getting prestigious. It is having continuity, unlike the Strong Tag Championships. Like, you see, if you give a storyline, if you allow a wrestler to keep the belts for long enough, it allows them to put their own stamp on it and increase the prestige of the belt. And it's actually a really beautiful belt. So we then got up to another tag match. So this was non-title, nothing really mattered, but it got some good names on the card. We had Global Champion David Finlay and Kenta, who is both the Defy Champion and the IWGP Tag Champion, but surprisingly forgot both belts, versus Los Ingobernables de Japon's Yota Tsuji and Tetsuya Naito. So it started off amazing. Naito was taking a piss with his pants. He was like, "Oh, am I taking it off? No, I'm not taking it off. Am I taking it off? No, I'm not." So that was quite funny. I think Tsuji was a real star in this. There were some moments of missteps with Tetsuya Naito. So when he did his usual like combinación cabrón, you could see it faltered a bit. But the teamwork between Tsuji and Naito is really working well. Like, it's like a common thing, isn't it? That Los Ingobernables de Japón, you put any combination into a tag match and they will do great. Similarly, Finlay and Kenta did really well. They were getting heat, they were having some fun. They were, you know what, as much as like we talk about Kenta not really bothering, Finlay is a very good wrestler and he is showing that, but he is now showing character work. He has this belt, so it's quite good. In the end, Naito got the pin over Kenta. I don't know what this is going to mean. I thought it might set up a feud between Naito and Finlay, or like Tsuji and Finlay, but obviously Finlay didn't get pinned. I don't know if Naito's going to be wanting the Defy Championship or the tag belts, but who knows. Remember, Tetsuya Naito was the first ever person to win the IWGP Heavyweight Tag and Junior Tag when he was part of No Limit with, yes, Mr. Yujiro Takahashi, who was not on the card because earlier in that day he had caused some chaos with Gedo in the Best of Super Junior. We then had another special singles match. No, this was the first special singles match, but I mean another non-title match. So after Mr. Jeffers Cobb beat Zack Sabre Jr., for the IWGP, for the New Japan World Television Championship. Zack went, you're not fighting, not going to scream, not going to shout. We are going to go on to better and bigger things. He wants to go, obviously, for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. But he has one person that he needs to beat for that. Not the champion. The man who beat him back at Wrestle Kingdom for the television championship. Hiroshi Tanahashi, who obviously has been injured, but came back when he had his match against Nick Nemeth. This match was great. Like, these two have had so many amazing and classic bouts with each other. They know each other so well. Tanahashi has to adapt to Zack Sabre Jr.'s more mat game. We see Zack going for moves that Tanahashi does. Tanahashi's legs are still not in the best state, but these matches, shorter matches, work really well. There's some really smooth moments, especially towards the end, where they're like transition after transition, roll up after roll up after roll up. And in the end, while it might have been a loss in Zack's book, he got the win with the Zack driver. Now, you'll say this, why, but it's still a win. So for Zack, he will always say that if he has not submitted someone, that is not a win for him. He has done that with the Bryan Danielson match. And for someone who is the best submission wrestler in the world, I understand him. But in the post-match comments, he said that he wants IWGP Gold. But while I thought maybe we could get a Zack coming out after the main event, he actually stated that he wants to win the G1 and be the first foreigner to win the main event of Wrestle Kingdom. Now, it's quite odd. So I think a few years ago when Zack was like, I'm going to win the G1, he said he was going to make his challenge at Royal Quest. But I like that he now realises the importance of Wrestle Kingdom. He has lived in Japan for years. He is, I guess, Japanese. He is an honorary Japanese citizen, I would say. So I quite like the idea of him having won the New Japan Cup, but now going for the G1. We then had a stream of title matches. The first one was, as we were mentioning with Zack Sabre Jr., the New Japan World Television Championship, Mr. Jeff Cobb, facing someone who should never have left New Japan, Mr. Lance Archer, the Murder Hawk. Now, it was a bit odd because first thing, Lance Archer came out, he didn't have his red braids, but he did beat up some young lions at ringside. So, welcome back, Lance Archer. This was a phenomenal match. It was two beefy men hitting the shit out of each other. Now, normally in a match, Jeff Cobb is the strongest man there. In this match, he was the strongest, but you are going up against someone huge. Lance Archer, I have never met the man, but he must be over like 6'5". Someone can confirm this in the comments. But he was hitting moves on Lance Archer like he was a junior heavyweight. He was doing suplexes, he was throwing him around. Similarly, Lance Archer was doing a really good job of dominating Cobb. Because yes, while Lance Archer is massive, Jeff Cobb has that strength, that body mass, that makes him so formidable. Again, I am obsessed with the stipulations of this match that, oh, you have 15 minutes to win. Because from the beginning, you saw a sense of urgency. Like, literally, as soon as the bell rang, Jeff Cobb tried to go for the tour of the island. And I was like, damn, is this going to be probably the world's shortest match we've ever had? But it didn't. It kept going, and the ending was just as good. So, again, 15 minutes, urgency. What did Lance Archer decide to do? He decided to walk the ropes. Yes, it's a phenomenal thing. He was showing off to the crowd, sticking up a middle finger. But it came as his detriment because as he came off, Jeff Cobb grabbed him and went for a tour of the islands and got the win and his first defense. Now, this belt might as well be the big beefy men belt now, because after that match, Tomohiro Ishii came out because at a match at All In, which was obviously DDT, New Japan and Noah, which I've still not watched because it's still not available. Sigh. There was a match there where I think Ishii must have got the pin on Jeff. So we had that set up. Two big beefy men. Let's talk about some more beefy men. We then had the never open weight match. So that was between champion Shingo Takagi and Yuya Uemura, who was also the King of Pro Wrestling champion. Now, before this match even started, we had a VT. And it was Hanare, who obviously has been out of action since that life-changing steel cage match, basically saying, whoever wins this, I am challenging for the Never belt. Which makes perfect sense because when I think of Never, I think of guys like Ishii, Jeff Cobb, Shingo, Hanare. Those very diverse guys who are a bit bigger, have a bigger build, but really pride themselves on being like strong and like Japanese strong style. So this match, I loved it. he's had a little cockiness on him since he won the King of Pro Wrestling title in a very interesting match that you should go and watch, because King of Pro Wrestling is hilarious. Umara has not been as consistent with his matches as maybe the likes of Yota Tsuji and even Shota Umino. But this match was really good. You could see Shingo really being the guiding force here, allowing Umara to showcase his own skills, but also keeping his own image fresh. It's a bit like when he had the probably match of the year candidate with Gabriel Kidd for this title. It went about 20 minutes. It was very good. In the end, with the last of the Dragon, Shingo got the win. And again, Shingo for me is never, and I hope he can continue this reign. I would actually I say this, I like there's been a bit of consistency and Shingo's had very good defenses, but I kind of need Hinari to win. So yeah. And I kind of like how we're like segueing quite nicely here. So after the Never match, so obviously Shingo, his last defense was against Gabriel Kidd. Gabriel Kidd was now in the next match for a very bizarre, no ropes, 10 count, no DQ match against Eddie Kingston for the strong openweight title. So we had obviously the first two, so we had the tag titles and the women's title. Now this was the singles title. Eddie has had a hard time. He had all 3 belts. I think he was like the triple champion. He's lost them one by one. And this was personal because we've seen over the months his rivalry with Gabe getting very intense. Now this match, personally, it was too bloody for me. Like, I can do some of these crazy matches, but there was blood from like 2 minutes in. With the craziness of the stipulation, there was like chairs, bins, ladders, table, like one brainbuster off the ring into a table. I think that was what ended the match. Wow, that was a lot. But in the end, Gabriel Kidd has finally got New Japan. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, this is Gabe's first set of New Japan Gold as he won the New Japan Strong Openweight title. Now, at the end of it, as Gabe went out and Eddie was on the floor, Jack Perry came out. After Jack Perry came out, who came out? Is it the EVPs? Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, obviously AEW. They did actually a pretty decent promo about how like they were born and raised in SoCal down the street in, I can't remember the name, but like how they're too rich for it now, and obviously teasing a match against Eddie Kingston and some of the other guys in AEW. Quite nice actually, a nice break and interesting. It's been 5 years since the Young Bucks, I don't know if they're still called the Young Bucks, were in New Japan, but it was a nice little break in the card. I guess it also helped them to get set up for the main event, which is for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, which saw champion Jon Moxley facing his son, Shota Umino. Now this match was great. So you'd think, oh, maybe there'd be some niceness. You know, they know each other so well. They're like father and son. Nope. From the very beginning. So I think bear in mind, this was like 6:30, 7 a.m. at this point. I think I like dozed off during the entrances because, you know, Shota takes forever. And then suddenly Shota dived out to start the match and the crowds went crazy. And I was like, oh, okay, there's a match started. Like, wow. It was a really strong match. If you just watched it as an outsider, you wouldn't have told that there's a bond between them. And I think that is the perfect thing. I don't like it, you know, when Bullet Club used to be like, oh, let's try and play nice. No, they went above and beyond. They were flying out of the ring. They were wrestling as... There was so much determination in Shota. I was seeing like a new side to him. Because yes, he's coming in. He's a crowd favourite in Japan. Here, the crowd seem firmly on Moxley's side. But he is like the new Tanahashi. He is crowd pleasing. He's being flashy. But this seemed really gritty for him. Now, in some sense, I thought he was going to win. Like, I wanted him to win. Shota's done so much since he's come back, but has never managed to reach where he should be at this point. Sadly, even after hitting a death rider and kicking out of finishers, Moxley got the win. And you know what? I really liked it. I hope that maybe in 2 years we're looking back and going, do you remember Shota's match? He's now champion. Now, this is where I fell asleep, but can I tell you why? Because 1, I was tired, but 2, I knew what was going to happen. After Zach basically was like, I'm not coming out, because he was saying, oh, he's doing the G1, I was like, I know he's coming out to challenge Moxley. Think back to his match against Narita and the person who was left in the ring after that beatdown. It was evil. How has this man, every time, gets a shot at this title? I think he didn't with Tetsuya Naito, thank God, after like Wrestle Kingdom. But he had that forgettable match against Sanada. I say forgettable because I want to forget it. He won that title. He's had match against probably every champion. New Japan is not short on heavyweight single stars at all, like they are on tag title competitors. So why is Evil getting chance after chance? I'm not sure when this will be. I pray to God it's not at Dominion, because that would possibly mean that like within the space of the semi-final or final, you'd get the IWGP Junior champion facing the Best of Super Junior winner. So that would be Show facing someone, and then Jon Moxley facing Evil. I get it. You know what? I get Evil. If you'd have told me this like when Evil was in Los Ingobernables de Japón, I'd have got it. I love that Evil, you know? The King of Darkness. This is Evil. Everything is evil. Subete wa evil da. You know, I'd got it. I mean, I just hope that like it's just to get another like defense for Moxie. But can I be honest? It was the guy from AW. The name has eluded me. Ren Narita, Shota, and now Evil. The only one I'm gonna count is this Shota match because it was a very good match, but nothing else. Moxley, you have so much potential, but why are you not getting the right competitors? But I mean, like, aside from Evil coming at the end, it was actually a very good card. We have been saying this, but you know what? The New Japan Strong matches have been out of this world. They have been giving and giving, and actually the consistency has been better than the Japan shows. There is so much going on. So we have the Best of Super Junior going on. Then we'll have Dominion. Then we're going into the the G1 season. So there's so much happening, new storylines, new champions. Like I said, it was actually a very good card from start to end, so I can't complain. So now it's your turn to let me know. What did you think of the card? Whether you were watching it at a decent time if you were on the West Coast, a weird nighttime show on the East Coast, or if you were in the UK and it was the middle of the night. So let me know in the comments. Our social media at wrestling_chat. Let me know your thoughts, your favourite matches, your least favourite matches, what you think the future is for the title. Will everything be evil again? I really hope not. And as always, while you're there, hit like, share with your friends, and hit subscribe, because you know what? It's a busy time of year. We've got tournaments, then big shows, then tournaments, so I will be there to cover it all. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!